Welcome everyone to the 4 at 4 forums. We are live on Facebook and live on YouTube. Today's program is starring guest host Brad Halpern. And now here's Brad.
CBD, CIA, FBI, DMV. There was a time as recently as 2 years ago when saying CBD was followed with a collective, huh? This year, the U.S. market size for CBD is expected to reach $9.3 billion. And in just 2 years, it's predicted to surge to $23 billion. For reference, CBD is just one component of the cannabis plant. The male plant known as hemp having little or no THC, hence no psychoactive effect, try saying that. And the female plant being marijuana, where the abundance of THC is found. So before we get to our expert panel, I'd like to set the table here. Buckle up and join me for a very quick historical time travel at 30,000 feet. It's 1200 AD and hemp is being used in Europe. It's now 1700s. US farmers were required to grow hemp. Cut to modern times, 1930. Industrial giants William Randolph Hearst and DuPont Corporation businesses were threatened by hemp due to its better and cheaper oil and fibrous ingredients. They pushed and got the criminalization of cannabis using a man-made-up name, marijuana. 1940, CBD, the acronym for cannabidiol, was first isolated. Late 1960s, increasing use of recreational drugs and a burgeoning generation gap led to President Nixon in 1971 declaring a war on drugs, namely marijuana. 1980s, those on chemotherapy were told to smoke marijuana, supposedly for munchies, to help their lost appetite from the chemo. Many years later, it was determined that it was actually the CBD that regulates appetite. 1992, we're getting close. Discovery that the human body has something called an endocannabinoid system. Hear anything that sounds similar? Cannabis, cannabidiol, endocannabinoid system. Late 1990s, military leaders were worried about Saddam Hussein using nerve gas on our soldiers in the region, and had heard about something called CBD as a potential brain protectorate. They selected two top scientists at US Army Chem Defense to lead the research. Stay with me, because here's where it gets good. 2003, these overwhelming research findings resulted in the first US patent of CBD and neuroprotection. The patent, you're not going to believe this, was by the US Department of Health and Human Services and lists 7 issues that CBD helped. Are you ready? Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, stroke, MS, HIV, dementia, seizures, and migraines. Ahem. That was 2003. You know anyone in the last 17 years that might have benefited from knowing this? One of these scientists was chosen to give the research results to NATO. In the past 5 years for CBD has been legally gray and contradictory. 2018 Farm Bill, federal laws versus state laws, FDA versus DEA, interpretations of the law, and most importantly, uneven enforcement. So many moving parts here, so let's get to it. First, a thanks to Cal Lutheran University School of Management for being our presenting sponsor. Learn more at callutheran.edu. And now, our panel of CBD experts. Nancy Duitch, CEO of Sera Labs, and Ron Davidson, CEO of Cure Pharmaceutical. Nancy, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Please take a little time and tell us about yourself, your job, your career path until now.
Well, thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. And really interesting facts. I actually didn't know a couple of those facts, especially the Saddam Hussein fact. But you will notice that when you were talking about the female part of the plant that has all the good stuff in it, that's why females are so much better CEOs than men are, right? So I come from a long history in the consumer product goods world. I started out in the retail space and moved into direct to response and was in the crazy infomercial industry during a time that it was new and exciting, where you could buy a half-hour spot at midnight on TV because the TV stations, the networks, had blank time slots from midnight until 6 o'clock in the morning. So we were able to buy them for $100 to $300 for a 30-minute spot and put on exciting new products and reach the public in a way that would sell them products on television. And so this was back in the late 80s, early 90s. I was fortunate enough to be involved in that industry, where I was involved with the first major infomercial product, the ab rollers. And I ran the retail division for this company. And we did, in 1 year, because of the $1 million a week we spent on TV, on advertising, we did $333 million in 1 year at retail with the ab roller products. It was amazing. And I stayed in that career and loved the idea of direct to consumer. And that's really the whole philosophy of the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And that's a good transition into CBD, because most people don't understand that you really have to advertise in order for people to understand who you are and how to keep your product line and the quality of your product line out of the clutter with everybody else who says they've got the best products. So we use the whole philosophy of direct to consumer to educate and advertise to the consumer. And so 2 years ago, I went to this great mastermind program in Arizona. I was the oldest person by 30 years there. And they were all like young kids with ponytails and really rich kids. And I was there listening to them talk about CBD, CBD, CBD. And I thought, I've got this great skincare line. I wonder if I can put CBD in it. And I started talking to them, and all the young guys said, well, my dad's giving me the money for this. And I said, I wonder if I can do better than these young guys can do. So went back, reformulated the product line, and started Sera Labs. And we started with a fantastic beauty line that we call Sera Topical. And we've been selling it. I've got 6 products in this line. I wish I had a better showroom here, but I'm in the CFO's office right now.
No problem. We're going to have to move this forward a little bit here.
Okay. But anyway, I just want to tell you, we are doing great. We're in retail, we're direct to consumer, and we're killing it right now. And I love the CBD business.
I love it. Great history. Rob, give us a similar intro about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and great to be on here. Thank you. I think Nancy probably cut my time in half, so I'll have to move quick. So yeah, my background's in formulation sciences, drug delivery technology. I'll get right into kind of Cure Pharmaceutical. We're a platform drug delivery technology company. We do have an FDA registered facility and actually a DEA, I think you mentioned DEA earlier on, a DEA Schedule 1 license at our facility. So we can work with all the cannabinoid molecules, both majors and minors at our facility under the FDA regulations. And I'll get into later a little bit about the different verticals. But we looked at cannabis and the endocannabinoid system, as you noted, as a great way of treating certain indications. And what we did early on, around 2016, is we established research relationships in Israel. Israel was way ahead of us in all research when it came to cannabis and the endocannabinoid system itself. The father of cannabis was there, Raphael Mechoulam. Professor Mechoulam was a great pioneer in this industry. And we looked to work with Technion Institute out of Israel and really started studying the mechanism of action on the different cannabinoid molecules and how they affected certain cancers, certain indications, from neurological indications to inflammation. And there's a lot of interest there, and there's a lot of science behind it. I think, as you said, the U.S. government proved some of that out in some of their research. And we look to, okay, now we know those products have great potential. How do we deliver more effectively to the body? And that's kind of what we do at our facility at Cure. We develop ways of getting the active ingredients to the patient, into the patient's body more effectively, lessening side effects, and really making it a better experience so they don't have to take a lot, they don't have to swallow pills. We actually have a thin film technology that we utilize, and I'll go into that a little bit later, I'm sure, in the show.
Perfect. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm the former mayor of the city of Westlake Village, re-elected and currently serving on city council. I started a company in 1993 named Eggology, and it was credited as pioneering the liquid egg white industry for retail and subsequently for food service. Sold in 2015, and in 2016 began a CBD company because at its core, it was similar to CBD and an egg white protein that is the exact match of the human body, very similar to CBD. Having owned and operated a USD processing plant for 22 years, I knew how to do the quality production that seemed to be lacking in the industry. So you can see what we're doing at www.qualitycbd.com and are working with the US scientist that I spoke of earlier, now known as grandfather of CBD. But let's start the conversation. Rob, I want to continue with your intro here. Cure's been working on a novel delivery platform that has some compelling implications for CBD. How do you see Cure's findings potentially changing the marketplace? And perhaps first, what are those findings and why are they exciting?
A great question. So yeah, we have a multitude of research studies that we've been involved in with the different cannabinoid molecules. One specific recently was really how effective you can deliver CBD into the body. There's a lot of products on the market that claim, they have a better delivery, they have a better way of getting CBD into the body. CBD, and I won't get too much into the science here, but CBD is a lipophilic molecule. It's non-polar, so it has very low bioavailability overall and solubility. You probably know that from developing products and being in the product market. So what we did is we did some independent studies on pharmacokinetic profiles and bioequivalency, how much it gets absorbed into the body on human patients. And we were able to show really with our delivery system and our technology and quality controls and science behind what we do, we can get the drug active, the CBD, whatever, it's a drug active, it could be a nutraceutical, whatever you want to call it, it's still a molecule. We can get that CBD molecule into the body much more effectively. We can get it in faster. So, you get a higher concentration in the blood faster. Why is this important? You noted a couple of those indications: Parkinson's disease, MS, potentially stroke patients, TBI, which is traumatic brain injury. If I want to get CBD into the blood fast and be effective, I have to find a better way than just injecting it or just swallowing a pill. So we showed a statistically significant increase in getting CBD into the body, which makes it much more effective, gets into the blood. You're not going through the gut. You're not going through the liver. You're actually getting into the blood, potentially through buccal, which is between the cheek and gum, or sublingual delivery using our thin film technology. And we're able to get it into the blood very efficiently and fast. So I would say if I have an emergency medicine need, I'm pulling out a strip. It's a very thin film. You just put it into your mouth like that. We'll let it dissolve, and then you're done. So it's very easy.
Excellent.
Very effective.
Excellent. Nancy, what do you find the most misunderstood aspect of selling CBD-infused products? And I guess part two of that question is, what do you tell people who don't understand the difference between CBD and THC?
That is the biggest misconception, is that people still ask me on a topical CBD product, am I going to get high from this? And it's so interesting to me that, with all the talk about CBD and all the chatter about it, that people still don't understand that there is none or a little, such a small amount under the 0.3% THC in it, and you're not going to get high. What I also find is a problem is that there are people out there selling CBD and it's hemp seed oil, or they don't actually have the right amount of CBD in their product. So people aren't getting the benefit of saying they think they're getting a 500 or 1,000 milligram CBD product, whether it's in a topical or an ingestible. And so they're really not getting what they think they're getting in their system, which is why, at least at Sera Labs, and you can go to, I learned from you, seralabshealth.com, and we have C of A's for every one of our products, as I'm sure you do, Brad, and we make sure we don't even pay for the goods until we know that there's exactly the right amount of CBD in the product. And because we have our products in retail stores, we have to go through multiple sets of testing to get past the major drug chains and the major retailers to even get our product on the, in their stores. And it's crazy what we have to go through. But I think the biggest misunderstanding is the fact of the THC and the fact that people don't understand what CBD really is.
I'm so glad you just said what you said. I'm going to jump in here and just say, I see consumers as having been led to believe or wanting to believe that this is a miracle potion.
Yeah.
Yet there's nobody out there saying why CBD actually works. And since we're at that point, I'll just say there's an area of your brain called CA2, and it produces a chemical that goes out through your endocannabinoid system that I spoke of earlier. And just like an egg white is the same protein as the human body, CBD, which can be found in chocolate and hops and even coffee, is the exact match of what that area of the brain produces. And that's why it works. That's really the core of it. So I'm glad you called that out. Rob, this is for you. Kira and Sera Labs are both working in the CBD space. What was the most compelling aspect of the combination to you?
Wow. Besides Nancy's energy. Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So many things. I mean, what Nancy just talked about, she was all about quality of the product, really caring and really passionate about what the consumer is going to receive at the end point. I don't think there's enough of that in many industries, nutraceutical, even pharmaceutical sometimes, and definitely in the CBD space. It's the Wild West a little bit. But that was really important to me, just that fit there, that social impact initiative. But also the fact that she built out quite a strong delivery distribution platform, going direct to consumers, going into retail. She's got a proprietary platform system that she is developed that creates these great ways of ordering CBD and also learning about the product when you need to learn about the product. So I think that's really the fit. And we want to bring technology into the product line that she currently has. We have some strong technology, not just delivering orally, the CBD, but also transdermal technology with our proprietary polymer systems and encapsulation technologies to get, some of these molecules either through the skin or through the buccal cavity or sublingual. So it's exciting that we can plug our technology into her distribution platform and really kind of be the master of our own destiny as far as distribution and selling a brand. And that's really key to us because obviously from the bottom line, that's going to drive significant revenues. She has, again, she has a great distribution channel, great team from a branding marketing perspective. And we have the science. It's a great fit, to be able to vertically integrate the science component of it and the message, the brand message and the quality message out there of the products. I think that's really, really what got us excited about the deal.
Excellent. We're going to take a deeper dive in this, but now we're going to take a quick break for something pretty special. Our music director, Paul Piazza, is going to introduce our guest musical artist. Paul?
Hey, Brad, thank you so much for the great information. Speaking of chemicals in the brain, dopamine, serotonin, these are all things related to making music, and we've got a great musical guest for the show today. If an instrument has strings, Andrew Kelsey probably knows how to play it. This multi-talented crooner knows how to play guitar, ukulele. He'll probably also tell me he plays tuba after this whole thing is done. But I wanted to share a little bit about him with you. Again, great instrumentalist, great singer, songwriter. He'll share some originals with us today. And he's also one of Culver City's foremost front yard yoga practitioners. So he actually has just started in the world of a little bit of professional modeling as well. So that's fantastic. And he leads the Paper Moon Band. And at this time, he's going to share with us some great music. So let's give a big hand wherever you are for Andrew Kelsey. Take it away, Andrew.
Sweet pea, apple of my eye. Don't know when and I don't know why. You're the only reason I keep on coming home. Sweet pea, what's all the fuss about? Don't get your way and all you do is fuss and pie. You're the only reason I keep on like a Gibraltar, always seem to falter, but the words just get in the way. I'm trying not to crumble, I'm trying to stay humble, but I never think before I see you, sweet bee, keeper of my soul. I know sometimes I get out of control. You're the only reason I keep on coming. You're the only reason I keep on coming here. You're the only reason I keep on coming home.
Andrew, sounds great. Thank you so much for the music. Brad, back to you.
My pleasure.
Round two, and we're back. That was great. Let's pick up the conversation. I'm going to combine two questions here. Nancy, let's have you start. I'm guessing that we all agree that in regards to CBD in the public, the genie is out of the bottle. But there are many forces trying to alter its course, as you, I'm sure, will share. How do you see CBD's immediate path for the next 18 months? And I'd love for you to also speak to the frustration of trying to market CBD.
Oh, God, two amazing questions. First of all, I believe that topicals are getting accepted more and more in the retail space. Ingestibles are still the winner online right now. And I see that at some point that the FDA will come out with some kind of guidelines. I think they'll be very vague and nebulous at the beginning. That's just my opinion. I'll be shocked if they come out with anything that's controversial at all. I also believe that that the DEA is going to have nothing to do with CBD at all, and that they're going to stay away from it. And I believe that as long as we all follow DSHEA and follow the all the rules with claims and substantiations, the bad guys will get caught and the good guys will live on and continue. And I believe it will become an FTC regulatory issue on claims and substantiation, because every time I see somebody telling me online that their product cures cancer and Parkinson's and every other disease, it's so bad. It's so bad for the other guys out there. It really is. And so, and as far as marketing, your second part of the question, it's very tough. It's very, very difficult on the advertising side. We just got approved for Google and Facebook because we rebuilt our site with hemp on it instead. And and so we're able to do that. The affiliate marketers are a little tougher because you can't trust what they're going to say and do because they cure everything in the world. So we've had to kind of test and go through the minefields a lot to find where our sweet spot was and to make sure we control the legal language, we control the substantiation. And if people don't follow our guidelines, they don't get paid.
Good points that you just brought up. And something that should be said is early on, it was Dr. Oz sent people into stores. They picked up a dozen or so CBD products. They had them independently tested. Yeah. A couple of them didn't have CBD in them at all. There were a couple of other items that were found in them that were not good. And there are over 1,800 CBD companies, but only a handful that are doing it right. And I'm glad you said that. That's really, really important. Rob, can you answer the same question?
I definitely can. I'm gonna have a little different spin on it. I agree with everything Nancy said because I'm not allowed to.
You're in trouble.
I'm not allowed to disagree. So, no. That being said, definitely CBD DEA already said, look, we descheduled it, so they're definitely not going to be in the game. But when the FDA does regulate it, and I think they're going to come down and say something soon, in reality, we need something. We need some guidance on the regulatory side. When they do, though, I think from Cure Pharmaceutical standpoint, we're pretty excited about the opportunity to really take over all the manufacturing because we are GMP. We have CGMP facility. We're a registered FDA facility. We do everything the right way. Like you, Brad. I mean, it's all about the quality controls and quality assurances of the products. So I think you're going to see a consolidation in the industry once regulatories, has guidelines and the FDA says, okay, it might be a dose regulation where anything over 25 milligrams is a drug, and anything under it, okay, you can do it as a wellness product, but you can't make claims. We don't know yet what the guidelines are, but the train's left the station. You accurately said that, and it's not coming back. You can't pull it back. That being said, look, there is a CBD drug on the market. It's 1,000 milligram Epidiolex for epilepsy. You're probably familiar with that. GW was the one that got that approved. So I think they're going to have dosing guidelines because they did show some side effects with very high amounts of CBD, especially for pediatric patients. So I think they're going to go with guidelines on anything below a certain milligram. And to Nancy's point, FTC, are you making claims that you can't substantiate? We see that a lot in the CBD world, and they're the ones that are getting in trouble right now, right? The FDA is saying, okay, you're making drug claims, you're making claims that you're curing disease indications. That's not right. You don't have the studies. You can't do that. It becomes a drug when you do that. So you'll see that to continue. But I think you still have another 12 to 8. I don't think this gets cleared up or from a regulatory perspective, probably for another year or two. Honestly, they're just not moving fast at all on this.
I would have to agree. And I would also say that, there's also been issues with supplements and even generic drugs.
Yeah, absolutely.
As chronicled by the TV show 60 Minutes last year. But I do think, I agree with your timeline. I do think states are going to put pressure because, especially now, they see it as a source of revenue.
Absolutely.
And so I think just politically, it may help move the ball a little bit. But
let me just jump in and say that I think it's one of the few times that the consumer has actually told the regulatory agencies, this is what we want. And like we said before, the genie is out of the bottle, so it's too late for that. But I believe that they're going to have to go with the way the consumer is requesting it. The consumer wants more information, more knowledge, they want better product. I think the consumer is going to be thrilled with better guidelines and with better guidance. So they know that what they're buying is the right quality. And I just want to say one more thing. Amazon is such a big culprit with CBD because they only take hemp products, and most of them are hemp seed oil. And so people are getting that and thinking, all these customers are going to Amazon and they're thinking, this is what CBD is supposed to do for me. It doesn't do anything for me because they're taking hemp seed oil. So I wish Amazon would get off the slow train and do it the right way because they do so many other things right.
And that is part of what I was saying about contradictory enforcement on this whole thing is it is really interesting, but you have several large industries like the tobacco industry and big pharma that are kind of waiting in the wings on this. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of years how this shakes out. But you mentioned, this would be a good time. Nancy, can you say your website one more time so people listening?
Sera Labs Health. That's SERALABS health.com.
And Rob?
So ours is easy. It's curepharmaceutical.com.
And ours is equally as easy. It's www.qualitycbd.com. In 10 seconds or less, this is an impossibility. Can you tell me, Rob, how do you describe your product line?
Basically, broad platform, technology that helps deliver either nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, wellness products more effectively to the body. So for the patient, they're getting what they think they're getting, and they're getting it more effectively.
Excellent. And Nancy?
Sure.
I told you.
I'll buzz her if she goes on.
The question.
Yeah, right, exactly. So basically, we are a high-quality topical beauty, anti-aging beauty company and also other topicals that are targeted problem solution products, as well as our ingestibles, all top quality products.
I love how you said that. That is exactly to what you can say. We call things wellness. We call them support. We say help. At Quality CBD, I'll just tell you, we have an adaptogen line. We have just the quality. It's all about the quality of the product. So Before we can take even a deeper dive, we're going to take another break for music. Andrew?
Hello. Brad, I'm learning so much. This is fantastic. This is a little original song. Soggy Bottom Gang went adventuring to find that they were kings and queens. From Hyena Bay to the Nepali, landing soft at Waikiki. Soggy Bottom Gang, I really miss you. My waters beckon you to play. Soggy Bottom Gang, let me sun-kiss you before I send you on your way. Oh, Soggy Bottom Gang, Soggy Bottom Gang, shining light from sea to sea. Soggy Bottom Gang, Soggy Bottom Gang, they're a bit like you and me. Soggy Bottom Gang, I really miss you. My waters beckon you to play. Soggy Bottom Gang, let me sun-kiss you before I send you on your way. Oh, Soggy Bottom Gang, Soggy Bottom Gang, shining light from sea to sea. Soggy Bottom Gang, Soggy Bottom Gang, they're a bit like you and me. Soggy Bottom Gang, Soggy Bottom Gang, they're nothing like you and me.
Excellent. You made me feel like I was in Hawaii.
Well, yes, and that was a song I wrote on a trip with a bunch of friends while in Kauai.
Which I got to ask.
Yeah.
You write your own music, so what inspires you?
So I hadn't ever played the ukulele before, and we have a group of friends that I call them my Action Jackson friends. We are the ones that all take long trips to Hawaii to camp for a week, and we go on surf trips and we go hikes, and kind of the people that are willing to go out and get dirty with me and have fun and hang on things and climb things. And we kind of coined ourselves the Soggy Bottom Gang several years ago because we seem to always find ourselves damp and wet in water. So as we were sitting on the beach one night after I had a Kona coffee, which had me wired, my buddy brought his ukulele. I'd never played it before, so I said, let me try that. And I right away started writing that song.
I love it. Well, thank you.
It was weird. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Let's bring back our panelists. We are getting close to our 4:44 wrap-up time. I've got 17 questions left to ask, but I think I can only ask 2. So where are we? Are we back with panelists? Here they come. Hello. I don't know if you guys both are familiar with AB 2820 Assembly Bill, which will impose state CBD regulations. Are you familiar with it, and what are your thoughts?
Do you want me to go or you, Nancy?
Why don't you go on this one, Rob?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Give me the hard one. All right. No worries. Yeah, I'm a little familiar with it. Listen, I think it's an opportunity. The states they don't want to wait for the federal government. The federal government has taken a long time. this gives an opportunity for the states to really make their own regulations on how CBD products, are going to be sold. And I think that could be a very interesting, way of handling the CBD unregulated crisis, to be honest. So, we'll see what happens there. It still has to go through, but again, I think that's really a component of the fact that the federal government just has not moved, and the consumers are saying, hey, the retailers are saying, hey, let's get going on this. Let's have some regulation. So why not do it by a state-by-state way? You did it with cannabis. Why not do it state-by-state? So I kind of agree. It's an interesting move, actually.
My concern is always like what's happened in the cannabis industry in California, for example, where we made cannabis legal by, we voted on it a couple years ago, and now the black market is bigger than the legal market is because they tax so much. So I'm hoping that when anything gets passed, that they've learned their lesson. I doubt it.
I think
we
Nancy,
are in California.
Yeah, I think, just to interject, if you don't mind, I think the fact that CBD, though, is descheduled, right? It's descheduled from hemp, right? From the DEA. I think there's a little bit more flexibility there for the states. So I don't think they have that overhang on, okay, it's a scheduled drug. So I think from a state standpoint, put some parameters in there, give people access to real CBD, and not they got to buy. It's almost like they're still buying CBD on a black market. It's a non-psychoactive, and it's helpful.
Rob, let me tell you something. The problem is that you go to the dispensaries, and unless you are using cannabis sativa grown in California, you can't even sell your
CBD.
product. You can't sell CBD in a dispensary in California.
It should be in a retails. I mean, it should be in a retail. Yeah.
I agree with both of you, actually, because having been very involved with the USDA, it provides standards that have to be met, and it gets rid of substandard. But as Nancy says, it's really inflamed the black market in marijuana, and it would do the same as it adds cost. So it is both problematic, but it's also a safety mechanism. So I agree with both of you on that. We have literally a minute, but I want to get a final thought. Nancy, you want to go first?
Okay. So my final thought would be that we definitely need to have guidelines. We definitely need we need the federal government to step in. We need smarter people that are running the FDA in and really understanding what the product is instead of dealing with it like a government bureaucrat. And we really need to get rid of all the companies out there as fast as we can that are selling sub-inferior products to make a quick buck. And this is not an industry that you're going to make a lot of money over a long period of time if you're just trying to make a quick buck with inferior products. So I think that self-regulation is really critical for all of us. And I think that all the good guys, like, all of us at the trade shows, get together. And I think that needs to happen state by state.
Very good. Rob, quickly.
Well, I got to follow that one, huh? Okay.
Yep, that's a tough one.
That was well said, actually. No, I concur with Nancy on that, as far as not state regulations, but consumers having access to quality products. That's really the key for growing any industry, really. And that's why, self-regulation is important. I think, we need more organizations through trade, trade organizations to really come through with, self-regulating, policies. And you see that happening now, which is great, just like Duitch, the nutraceutical industry and supplement industry back in the day under the Orrin Hatch bill. So I think, I think we have to give better access to consumers. I'm a patient advocate. I think patients, kids with seizures, do they have to spend $40,000 a year to buy a prescription drug? I don't, that's a little bit upsetting to me. I think, this is a natural plant. CBD is effective in many ways. I think everybody should have the right and opportunity to utilize CBD, but in a quality product. And I'm excited that there's a lot of movement in that direction, and people are starting to take it more seriously. And I think shows like this are great to educate the consumer and the public about what CBD really is and how that history that you did was great. Not a lot of people know about that. So I think we just got to continue down the path, and we have to be the catalysts for change.
Excellent. I agree with everything you both said. I want to go out on a limb here, though. CBD has so many benefits, and it's I am a skeptic when I hear a claim, but there are things that I've seen with people you cannot placebo. I'll leave that alone, but I will suggest to anyone that has issues, you can very easily search the internet, find science that's been done. It's been handicapped in the United States forever. You heard the reasons why. But there are Israeli studies. There are studies all over, some peer-reviewed, some not peer-reviewed. But if you have something, it is a holistic approach. And I would just encourage you to do your own fact-finding there and find a product that you can trust. Before we wrap up, we have a couple of things. We're going to once again bring music director Paul Piazza to tell us a little more about what's coming up in future weeks. Hey, Paul.
Thanks, Brad. In 2 weeks, we have Steve Oliver coming to play on the show. And he's got all sorts of Rat Pack and Motown style hits to sing us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. In 2 weeks, Steve Oliver joining us for 4 at 4 Forums. Each week, we like to promote local musicians who not only make the show informative, but also entertaining for all. So we would love your suggestions about local bands, local musicians, acts that you want to suggest to be featured on the show. Just visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/4 at 4 Forums. Leave us a message if you want to get us in touch with musicians. They could be a single pianist. They could be a band of 5 people, whatever it is. We want to make the art scene here in Southern California come alive here at 4 at 4 Forums. And then finally, because the musician scene during COVID-19 has been it's been tough for many musicians down here. We want to make sure that we're supporting them so that live music can happen not only during quarantine, but afterwards, and it can thrive here in Southern California. So if you want to support local musicians, please visit us at peoplemedia.live. You could see our digital tip jar for our musicians. If you enjoyed Andrew Kelsey's music today, leave him a tip today. It goes straight to him, and make sure that we can support live musicians, again, on 4 at 4 Forums as well as throughout Southern California. And with that, back to you, Brad.
You know, this would not be complete. First, I want to thank Nancy and Rob for being the expert guests today. I would also like to remind everybody that we are dark next week. So please join us again on Thursday, September 24th, when 4 at 4 presents Staying Fit in a COVIDian Time. Another tongue twister. Featuring John Michael J.T. Thompson, CEO of Giant Bicycles, John Konopke, founder of Health House, Gary Hall Jr., 10-time Olympic medalist in swimming and founder of the Diabetes Swim Series. Our moderator is Chris Newman, Vice President of Employee Benefits at USI Insurance. You can see upcoming programs at the website, www.peoplemedia.live. That's www.peoplemedia.live. Learn more and register for the 4 at 4 Forums. I'm thinking In-N-Out Burger at peoplemedia.live, always free and always 4 on Thursdays. And now, Andrew, why don't you play us out?
Who says I can't get stoned? Turn off the lights and the telephone. Me in my house alone. Who says I can't get stoned? Who says I can't be free from all of the things that I used to be? Rewrite my history. Who says I can't be free? It's been a long night in New York City. It's been a long night in Baton Rouge. I don't remember you looking any better, but then again I can't remember you. Who says I can't get stoned? Call up the girl that I used to know. Fake love for an hour or so. Who says I can't get stoned? Who says I can't take time to meet all the girls on the county line? Wait on fate to send a sign. Who says I can't take time? It's been a long night in New York City. It's been a long night in Austin too. I don't remember you looking any better, but then again I can't remember you. says I can't get stoned? Find a tip to the tramp, Japan alone. Doesn't matter if I even go. Who says I can't get stoned? It's been a long night in New York City. It's been a long time since 22. Well, I don't remember you looking any better. But then again, I can't remember. But then again, I can't remember. But then again, I can't remember you. Good night, everyone.